Welcome back to WatchAdvisor on YouTube. It's Alexander speaking, your host, and on your screen you see the GLASHÜTTE Original seaQ Chronograph.
Don't forget to subscribe and to hit the bell to get our latest notifications.
Everything started with the presentation of the re-edition of the seaQ watch. You all know it, and if you are following what we do on WatchAdvisor for a longer time, you probably also saw when we presented the seaQ the first time. So there's a re-edition, and then of course there is this iconic look of the seaQ Panorama date. That is the freehand diver with the big date indication, or panorama date as they call it. You all know that this watch is a huge success meanwhile and has been presented in various different materials including steel and gold. So it's really becoming, bread and butter, I would say, for GLASHÜTTE Original, since these watches sell like hell. And I'm not joking, that's the truth. They really try to manufacture as much as they can. Now, line extension with the chronograph, a watch that I was waiting for since I knew they are going to bring these chronographs. I saw the first pictures some time ago, and they showed me the first sketches, and I said, wow, that's gonna be a incredible watch. And here it is on your screen. The seaQ Chronograph just hit the markets, was presented a couple of days ago, and we are so happy to be able to show you the watch in all details. I have been choosing this time the version with the steel bracelet because 60% of sales in the seaQ collection watches are with the bracelet. Only 40% choose different other bracelets like the synthetic strap or the rubber strap. But no worries, I of course do also have the synthetic strap that you actually see on your screen with the butterfly folding clasp, and of course I will later on then change and show you the watch, how it looks like with the wonderful blue synthetic strap that perfectly matches the color of the dial and the bezel with its ceramic inlay, blue ceramic inlay. So both watches are here, and to start with, I would suggest that we have a closer look at the version with the bracelet, the stainless steel bracelet and the folding clasp, and it's really easy and absolutely perfectly usable micro length adjustment. 43.2 millimeter is the diameter of this 316L stainless steel case. The thickness, yes, that's quite a big thing here. What you see on your screen, the thickness is 16.95 millimeter. Yes, this is due to the fact that there is a sapphire crystal that gives you a wonderful view on the GLASHÜTTE Original Calibre, but this see-through case back adds some thickness. I will take my Bezel, my famous pointer, and you can see here it is adding thickness, but yes, it gives you the visibility on the movement. Well, you have to choose either this or that. And the so-called log-to-log distance, so the distance from one log end to the other log end is 51.6 millimeter. I do even have more numbers for you once I have them, or once they are available. I do not hesitate to share them with you. An interesting number is the so-called dial view, or in German we say Zifferblattschau. That is, how large is the dial? So the so-called Zifferblattschau in German, or dial view, is 32.5 millimeters. And this is quite interesting because we always discuss, case 43.2 millimeter. It's huge. Doesn't the watch exist in a smaller size, etc., etc. But now the dial is only 32.5 millimeter. So it is not such a huge watch. In total it is, but if you're only considering the diameter of the dial. It is not a huge watch. I could also give you, the exact number of the so-called case-back view. In German we say Bodenschau, and the case-back has a diameter, the sapphire crystal to be precise, has a diameter of 31.2 millimeter. So both sides are, the case back and the front side are equipped with a sapphire crystal. There's an anti-reflective treatment being used on both sides on the front side, and a anti-reflective treatment only on the inner side on the back. That's just a normal procedure as most of the watch companies do. The case is waterproof up to 300 meter or 30 bar. The entire seaQ chronograph is certified by DIN 8306. That is a DIN certifying divers. And if you are keen to understand what GLASHÜTTE Original is doing to get these watches certified, please click on the link that is now hovered on your screen on top. Click on that link and you will get to a video we taped earlier, and where we show the procedure at GLASHÜTTE Original, what they do when they test or certify their watches as a diver. The seaQ Chronograph is a certified diver, just mention it. Of course, then the bezel will only turn counterclockwise or unidirectional. 120 clicks, and yes, the little triangle is of course filled with a superluminova, so you can clearly also in darkness identify where it is or where you have been positioning it. I will now turn the bezel to show you this. It's a very solid click you get when you turn. Maybe we can hear that. I think so. And yeah, 120 clicks, precisely, I have to say. Whenever you stop, you clearly always see that the triangle stands in the middle of two indexes or minute indexes here on the dial, and when you get back to 0 you can see perfectly aligned with 12 o'clock, and the big dot above 12 o'clock. So that's what you expect, and of course GLASHÜTTE Original delivers. That's how it should be. Interesting is also, and I'm now playing a little bit around in front of the camera with the boxed sapphire crystal, that gives this watch a particular look. I would even go so far and say kind of a vintage look. Yes, it is boxed, no doubt, quite prominently boxed, even as the sapphire crystal also on the case back is a little bit boxed. And this is what in total adds lots of thickness. Yes, but also please think about the fact that the watch is waterproof up to 300 meters. And due to the fact that it is certified as a diver, it has to withstand plus 25%. So it is certified at 300 meters plus 25%. And now back to the sapphire crystal. And yeah, you see here when I take my Bergeron plastic pointer, please guys, this is a plastic pointer meant to show specific things on watches. It's plastic and can by no means scratch the watch with it. Let me play a little bit around and you can see, yes, there's some distortions on the edges. Look here, the 6, here we go. When I play around, the 6 is being, yes, not displayed correctly, but yeah, it is how it is. When you have such a sapphire crystal, you get some distortions at the edges, but this gives some extra sexy appeal to the watch. I have to say, this makes this watch look really, really good. Let me show it from this side also, and you can get an impression what you get when you are wearing the watch. And yeah, it is how it is, but looking good, at least in my humble opinion. The seaQ chronograph is powered by the Calibre 37. Does it have hacking seconds? Yes, you can clearly see this. The central second hand of the chronograph stopped. The running seconds as well stopped. So it is possible to make some precise adjustments if you want to do this. since it is prominently now showing up, and the contrast couldn't be better. If you look closely what I'm showing you here, the gasket, one of the gaskets is colored red. And what does this tell you? In case you do forget to screw down the crown, you will be remembered, oops, I should probably screw down the crown, and this is what I will do. And you will then see that this partly visible red gasket will disappear once I do what I have to do. In this case, I'm screwing down the crown, and look, no more red gasket visible, and this means now the watch is fully functional underwater, protected 300 meters plus 25%, as I said, and you see that the central second hand has continued to swipe over the dial. 1/8 of a second, it is a 4 Hertz movement, 28,800 semi-oscillations per hour, and this means that the central second hand swipes over the dial in 1/8 of a second steps. So what do you have? You have the running second with a little superluminova dot on it that is also required when you are certifying a watch as a diver, so that you can at one glance in all conditions, even dark or bad light conditions, always see if your watch is working. Then of course the sub counter at 3 o'clock is the one belonging to the chronograph. It's a 30-minute counter that you have, and I would say that's more than enough. A 12-hour counter is not missing, since I think most of us will do only short measurements and not use this on a long-term base. The Calibre 37 of GLASHÜTTE Original is a flyback chronograph. What does this mean? First of all the operations, start, stop, reset, etc., operated by a column wheel. You can either stop and start the watch through the push piece at 2 o'clock, start and stop. But what is much more, I would say usable in various conditions is a flyback function. Flyback function means that you do not have to stop the chronograph first before you can reset it. What you can do is, if you want to make measurements one after the other, and you don't want to lose time, precious time in this case, because you are trying to do a measurement, and you don't have to do stop and then press reset and start again. The only thing you do, now watch closely what happens, flyback, I press, and the watch starts from 0 without any delay. So what you do is, tack, and you go back, reset, reset of the minute counter happens, and of course the reset of the central second hand happens. It is when I press reset to 0, and when I release the button, the push piece at 4 o'clock, then the measurement continues. That's a very useful function, I would say, flyback. You guys at GLASHÜTTE Original, I'm so happy that you didn't put all this information on the dial, overloading it with useless stuff. I really have to say useless stuff. Flyback, and they could have written here panorama date, and here counter and running second. There are some companies, and I really don't like it, that are really using the dial for incredible, they write incredible things on those dials no one needs. Less is more. So all designers probably watching this video, less is more. Look, GLASHÜTTE Original. Wonderful. What else you need? The brand. That's the brand. And there is nothing else to discover. The only little thing is made in Germany. Yes, this is supposed to be there because, as you all know, GLASHÜTTE is in Germany, in Saxony to be precise, south of the city of Dresden. And it is there where they manufacture the watch. So it is really a watch made in Germany. Talking about the folding clasp, what you see here is a matte surface being interrupted by a highly polished surface, and this is not to implement a scratch magnet on the clasp, but this is the most useful thing and the most easy to handle thing you can imagine. This is what you want when you are wearing it. So what am I doing with that little highly polished, perfectly mirroring area here where you have the GLASHÜTTE Original logo? Yes, of course, some of you know that. It is a easy to handle mechanism where you can easily adjust the length of the bracelet. So you push and then you have, you see here, let me show this, you have all this you can use to fine adjust the bracelet when you're wearing it on daily basis. And it is so easy to handle even when you are wearing it. You just push on it and then you, as you need, you pull out a little bit, you pull back a little bit, and you get the perfect size of the bracelet that in that moment during the day fits perfectly on your wrist. You see, here is what you do. You slide in and out, and of course, there's not only one minimum and maximum. You can, of course, take half if you want. So it is really a nice way, an easy way to adjust, kind of micro adjustment of the length of the bracelet. I would say that's super smart, and you might have seen this mechanism somewhere else already. Yes, IWC uses the same mechanism. We've seen it also on the Odysseus of A. Lange und Söhne, so it's a mechanism that the bracelet manufacturer uses and sells to different companies. This is how the watch looks when the folding clasp is opened up. Nothing particular, special. The surface here has been brushed, not too much shine effect. You don't need that here, absolutely useless. If you need to do further adjustments, you can see some screws here on the bracelet. In the configuration, as you see it here on your screen, I have been taking out, when I got the watch, this amount of links. My wrist size is 17 centimeters or 6.7 inches, and these are the links I had to take off to make this seaQ Chronograph perfectly sit on my wrist. It was easy to do so. There is no rocket science. You don't need to be, an engineer. What you see is you have screws. With the appropriate screwdriver, you turn it 45 degrees. This will then release the pin, and you can slide out on both sides. You can slide out if you wish, depending on which side you want to handle it. You can slide out, and then the pin, is released 45 degrees. You have to turn here. And reassembling it is the same. You slide in and then you again turn the screw 45 degrees and it is locked. So this is not difficult. And if you now think, I've seen this before. Yes, it's true. The construction of the A. Lange und Söhne Odysseus or the IWC Schaffhausen, they have a little bit of a different approach. They have little push pieces on their bracelets. It has the same effect. It releases the pin and then you may dismantle and reassemble the bracelet. And the weight, now if you're asking how heavy is the watch with that full stainless steel bracelet, it's 195 grams. The watch with the synthetic strap, as we have it here, is of course lighter, and I will give you the weight a little bit later, but 195 grams as you see it in the configuration here. What you see here is that the bracelet has been fixed in between the lugs with a spring bar. To open the spring bar, you need appropriate tooling, otherwise you will not be able to open up the spring bar correctly. And it is almost impossible to take the bracelet out of its lugs where it is being fixed. And you see the gap here. The gap is not visible. It's incredible how precisely this is done, or it's incredible to see that precision. So there's almost no gap. You get the impression that this is not a interchangeable bracelet, but it is in fact. You could, but not having the appropriate tooling, etc., will probably cause you to scratch this side of the bracelet if you are sliding out, or if you are not used to do these operations. I do not recommend to do it at home. And this is a little bit of a flaw, I have to say. The only flaw, to be honest, I found on this seaQ Chronograph with Panorama date. So, GLASHÜTTE Original, if you are listening, Katharina Stegmann, Head of Product Development, CEO Roland von Kite. Guys, please, make it possible that the next generation of your seaQ watches get a magic button as we have seen it with other companies using it, like Cartier, like IWC Schaffhausen and others. They have that small push button. There is a button you press on, and what happens if you press on such a button? The thing is that the spring bar is being squeezed together, and this enables you to just pull out the bracelet without the need of any tooling, and this would then enable owners of the seaQ watches to exchange the bracelet versus the synthetic or rubber strap without the need of going to a watchmaker or a GLASHÜTTE Original boutique. And then, of course, this could be some additional business, so please listen carefully. I'm not telling you anything new, I think, but the easier it is, the more people probably are willing to buy an extra strap because they say, okay, I can change when I want to. But yes, this would be then also necessary to have the same mechanism being realized, of course, here. You would have the same little pusher. Once you push, these little parts of the spring bar that you see still here will then squeeze in, disappear. Then you would have exactly the 21 millimeters in between the lugs. Slide in, and then you release. The little nipples that you still see would come out and slide into the drilled hole of the lugs, and then you just move around a little bit to be sure it is safe, and then that's done. No rocket science. So, Roland, you may surprise us. Katharina, you may surprise us with such a perfect new generation of straps and bracelets. I would want to mention that the seaQ Chronograph you see on your screen is not a new watch that will ever be sold to a final customer, but it is a pre-series to show the watch to me, for example, or to the trades, to retailers, to boutiques, or VIP customers. So the watch has been touring around a while, gone through a couple of hands already. So it might be that there are some scratches on the watch in case you are seeing something that is not supposed to be there. And I'm so happy that we were able to get hands on the watch so early. The watch has just been released a couple of days ago. It is not, of course, not, I say that again, a watch that will ever be sold. So if you go in a boutique, a watch that you will buy will look, of course, perfect. Just wanted to mention it. Lots of talking about bracelet and straps, but now let me come back to something I always show you when I present you a watch with a date indication. I do also show you the other numbers that, of course, do exist. I always set the date to the 8 lucky numbers. And as you have probably recognized, the watch is mostly smiling at you, so I always do set it to 10 past 10. Well, now, let me quickly run you through these numbers, and you will see how they do look like. 10, 11, and so on, this double digit. It is the fantastic thing with a panorama date or big date indication that the numbers are easy readable. Also, without wearing glasses, you can very easily read the date from a watch, and this is not always the case. And in comparison to the Cyclops of the legendary Crown, I have to say I don't like those Cyclops at all. They look a little bit weird on the glass, even though, yeah, they do what they have to do. They magnify the small date disc. But yeah, a date construction as we do have it here on this panorama, like the panorama datum, the big date indication you have on the seaQ Chronograph is the best. And look how beautifully everything is readable. And I quickly run you through so you can see number. Now the 1 will exchange with a 2, and then you see 20 and so on. And we will also continue to see what happens if we go further on and we approach the 30th. Yeah, let me quickly let the second hand pass by. Now comes the 30th. There we go. The 31st. And the first will remain. Oh, the number, the 1 will remain. You will see this. The 1 will stay. And the 3 will be replaced by a 0. So 0, 1. And then we start all over again, reaching the 8. Before we reach the 8, some of you might have asked the questions, can I also operate it the other way around? Can I turn it back? No, you can't. So it's only in one sense, that it's the sense you see right now. No way of going back with the date disc. It's only advancing forward but not backward. Is there the risk that you can harm the mechanism by misusing it whilst the watch is close to midnight? No, there is a safety protection preventing harming that Calibre 37. I have been taking off the bracelet, and as you see, the watch now is equipped with the blue synthetic strap. There is no micro-length adjustment available in the butterfly class, but what you do is use the pin that is part of the buckle, as you see here. You choose the desired length you think that is appropriate for your wrist, and then you just slide the pin into the hole. That's all. And then what you do is you close the butterfly clasp until you hear a click. And of course you have to slide in, and I forgot to do this. First you have to slide in, of course, the loops, and once you've done it, you hear the click and then it is closed. That's the chronograph Calibre 37 of GLASHÜTTE Original with an automatic bi-directional winding rotor. It has ball bearings, so it really helps to perfectly wind up the watch with the less friction possible. So what you see is a winding rotor with a 21 karat gold segment, and the 21 karat gold segment, and it is written on it that it is 21 karat gold. To be precise, it's written here. This additional weight, of course, helps to accelerate the rotor and to deliver as much as possible energy to the barrel. The power reserve is, I said it before, 70 hours, 70 hours. Wow, that's really what we expect from a modern Calibre. The watch features a silicone hairspring, and the balance wheel oscillates at 4 Hz or 28,800 semi-oscillations. Well, that's the most important thing. And one more little detail I want to add is, yes, you see the column wheel here. On the column wheel, when I do start-stop action here with the start-stop bottom, you see the little nose. There is a little nose here. If it is sitting on one of the columns, the central chronograph wheel is disengaged and not connected to the gear train, and once I do press and the nose falls in between two columns, yes, then the contact is made, the central chronograph wheel is being in contact with the gear train, and the central second hand of the chronograph starts to swipe over the dial in 1/8 of a second steps. Also good to know that the partial graduation that is clearly visible, also due to the fact that it is a boxed sapphire, you get a little bit of a magnifying effect, but if you watch here, in between the second dots, you have 3 little dots, and this is the perfect graduation because you count beside left of the dot, on the dot, right of the dot, then again left, right, and you come, if you closely watch, to this exactly 1/8 of a second, and you couldn't display all the 8 or 7, in this case, 7 little dots, so you just take away some of them and you still count. When the second hand swipes over, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when you say 8, it has reached the next second index. What is not mentioned here, either on a case back or somewhere else in any technical description, is that due to the fact that the watch is featuring a silicone hairspring, that the watch also has some pretty nice anti-magnetic properties, so is quite resistant against magnetic fields. And you all know, and this is not a secret I'm telling you, that's the enemy today of a mechanical wristwatch. Is no longer dust, is no longer humidity, is no longer shocks or anything else. It is, yes, magnetic fields, and they're getting more and more everywhere. And so having a silicone hairspring does help a lot, and yeah, gives the watch quite good, I would even say reasonable, yeah, to resist even stronger magnetic fields. This is how I would wear the seaQ Chronograph with its beautiful synthetic woven strap. It is looking good, it feels good, and it takes, in my humble opinion, away some of the heaviness the watch has with that bracelet. And on top, yeah, it's much lighter. 136 grams, 136 grams versus 195 grams, 195 grams with the bracelet. So quite something. Maybe I forgot to mention, and I quickly want to do this. You might have asked yourself, is the bracelet tapering? In fact, it is from 21 in between the locks down to 18. So 21 to 18, that's how this bracelet tapers. The synthetic strap does not taper, or only a little bit. You can also wear it with a rubber strap on top. There is also a rubber strap available in blue and in black if you wish to combine it. Also possibility to wear it. It's kind of a tropic strap, you know how those look like. End of that video. The biggest question is, of course, as always, what does GLASHÜTTE Original charge you if you are interested in buying this chronograph? For the version as you see now on your screen, with the synthetic strap and the butterfly folding clasp, 15,600 euro, including 20% VAT. And attention, this is the new price. There is a price rise of 7% happening these days. This is due to the fact that the euro in the moment is so weak and the Swiss franc so strong. So if you are somewhere else in that world where the comparison in between Swiss francs and your currency is not the same as it is in between euro and the Swiss franc, actually, maybe there is no price rise or price changes, I don't know. In Austria, where I'm located, the prices have changed, 7% up, 15,600 as you see it. And if you're wearing it with the bracelet, as shown in the video, it's 16,500 euro, including always 20% VAT. So if you want to have a net price, please deduct 16.666%. To come to an end, this is, in my humble opinion, one of the most beautiful chronographs I've seen for a long time. Of course, it is blue, so it is my favorite color, it is my style. I love this kind of very technical looking chronographs. The watch is waterproof, 300 meters. It is tested or certified as a diver with the DIN 8306. Please do watch the video I have been talking about earlier, where we show behind the scenes the making of such a chronograph and also all the testing procedure. We have been filming this at GLASHÜTTE Original in GLASHÜTTE. The video is online for a while now, so maybe you already have seen it, and if not, please watch it. For my personal taste, this is a watch I really fell in love the first moment I saw it. It is simply perfect, looking good, everything is harmonic. The blue is perfect. The blue of the ceramic inlay on the bezel is perfectly matching the color. The blue of the dial, the blue of the date indication, everything is perfect. The readability is good. The watch looks good in darkness, so the lume shot is gorgeous. And you get really value for money, considering the fact that most of the parts are handmade, so it's really a hand-assembled movement, perfectly decorated. There's not a single part, also not underneath or hidden part that is not been decorated. All the screws have been blued, temperature blued, and not colored as others do. The edges are beveled, so it is really a haute horlogerie movement you get in a very sporty chronograph. And this should or could be a really good alternative for you also if you just are self-confident enough to wear a GLASHÜTTE Original instead. One of the brands that cry literally from your wrist, "Hello, I am the crown," or "Hello, I am IP," or hello everybody, it's me, your Patek Philippe. If you are self-confident enough, have a look at GLASHÜTTE Original. Check it out. Make your choice, either the chronograph, seaQ Chronograph, or the freehand version with the Panorama date. They are all gorgeous, simply gorgeous. You get value for money, and you are wearing a watch that will be under the radar. You will exactly know what you get, what you have. And yeah, that's also something. It's not a show-off piece. It is something that the wearer, the one who bought it, will enjoy. And in case someone asks the question, what are you wearing? You can then tell an incredible story about the watch and what's behind it. So your comments are most welcome. Please share what you think with us. Thanks for watching the video once again. As I do always say, end of these videos, stay tuned on WatchAdvisor on YouTube. There's much more to come. And bye-bye for now.